Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating the second of 8 sessions of a playtest of the current draft of Uncharted Worlds. Sean Gomes is working on a second edition, and I'm using I think it's version 0.72. This is very much a playtest. We're working out how to make best use of the system, and also I need to point out that the current playtest is around largely the player-centered moves. I've invented some stuff around ships because the second edition doesn't yet have those, that builds on the first edition, but I don't know. I don't want to, if that doesn't go well, that's not Sean's fault. And similarly, I've hacked together some rules for defining a relatively tight cluster of stars. So we're only playing with 7 systems just to kind of focus the mind. Whether we'll get to all 7, I don't know, but you never know your luck. This game, like most of my games, was organized as part of the Gauntlet online role-playing community's monthly calendar. If you want to know more about the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG and come play with us. There is an opportunity to do that in March. Weekend of the 24th, I think, is the next Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend, where we encourage people to come and try playing with us, just see what you make of it. We are playing with safety tools, as well as the Gauntlet Community's Code of Conduct. We're playing with safety tools layered to make sure that we all have a good time. And those safety tools are lines and veils. If you want to know more about those, then go back to session 1. Likewise, we're playing with the X card, and we're also playing with an open door. So, just to reinforce, I've played with these players before. They know what all of that means. You may want to go back to session 1 to hear more about what all that means. So the tone we're going for in this game is somewhere around, I guess, Firefly and The Expanse, and maybe a bit of Cowboy Bebop based on what happened last time. This is not Star Trek. This is not Star Wars. So that's my pitch. I will remind the players that the Lines and Veils tab has a summary of where we are on Lines and Veils. I'm not going to read them out because we went through them last time. I think a couple have been added in, so just check those out. And let's meet our players and their characters. So I am going this time to go right to left, just to break with tradition. So Joe, say hello, tell us your pronouns, and introduce us to Gemma.
Hi, I'm Joe, he, him. I am playing Gemma, who is a kind of a runaway member of an order of warrior mercenary kind of caste. And I think you asked about what we maybe found out about our character last time is, I think we kind of found out that she's has run away from this order. And I think we also found out that she's very, very, very good at violence, maybe too good at violence. So.
Yes, we certainly got the sense that she was a competent killer last time. Yeah, it was something to behold. Moving along, Gray, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Riley Perihelion.
Hi, I'm Gray. I use they, them pronouns, and I am playing Riley Perihelion. Riley was sort of a science media star, who is a bit of a washed up star at this point. So last session we learned that unlike Gemma, Riley is no good in a fight, doesn't know how to fight, but is very good at fleeing a space station that is decompressing, having grown up in a space station.
Yeah, knows the danger signs. That hiss of gas is never a good sign. And finally, Pavel, say hello and introduce us to Harper Sure-Shot Wilkerson.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I'm playing Harper. Harper comes from a corporation R&D home planet. He thinks very highly of himself. He's a clandestine scoundrel, which means he's a space cowboy thief. And last time we learned that he's very bad at being the space cowboy. He's much better at being the thief part. And he first caused the space station to try to vent atmosphere, and then somehow miraculously managed to stop it. So completely incompetent in some areas, very competent in the other ones. We'll see. We'll see how he goes about it.
Yeah, and I think a legitimate sense of superiority, but probably in a narrower range of expertise than initially he was pitching. So before we kick off, because we are going to go straight to the downtime part of this game in a moment on the planet in the system you write it. But I do want to just check in right down the bottom of the character sheet. There are factions, and I think that now that we've finished fleshing out our cluster, I'm interested in just you completing the faction bit. Now, if you hit the allegiance box, you'll see you have an option here. You can be independent or loyal. If independent, you can divide 3 debt between any 3 factions on that list. If you're loyal to one faction, if you have a relationship with one faction, you owe them 3 debts, but they also owe you a favor. So the question is, do you want to scatter the debts that you've built up because we know that the crew is scraping by at the moment in terms of keeping body and soul together. So let me go back round to Joe. What are you thinking for Gemma?
Would this be, so is it relative to the specific faction?
Yes. So currently we have the Order of the Obsidian Angel, which is the order that Gemma is on the run from.
Right.
I mean, I would leave it to you if you wanted to mark them as you having betrayed them, owe them a debt and expect them to come and collect, given that by the end of last time, we know that they are, you bumped into someone from the order and they are suspicious at least. So you could be independent or loyal and have betrayed the Order of the Obsidian Angel. We have the Central Organizing Committee. I think that relates to Riley, doesn't it? Great.
Yeah, that comes from my home place. So I filled this in since last session.
So do you want to tell us a bit about the Central Organizing Committee?
Sure. So with the caveat that I'm not totally sure this makes sense as a faction, this is sort of the governing body in the wheel of space habitats where everyone lives around the planet Memory. And since resources are tight, they're sort of in charge of allocating resources to make sure everyone has enough to live.
And the current description is they are a popular political government. So are there competing government factions or are they unopposed? I'm just curious because they seem to be popular at the moment. So I'm just curious.
My thought was that there might be different factions within the government, like, you know, everyone's trying to make this work. People have different ideas about how to do it. They spend a lot of time arguing.
Okay. But in terms of their current policy, the population of Memory broadly, or the stations around Memory, are broadly on side for them.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a player-defined faction. Then there's Andorran Carpenters. Now, in session 1, the crew had a passenger, one Sarah Carpenter, on her year out traveling the cluster, and so I've decided to flesh out the Andorran Carpenters as a faction. And what I've done is to build on what we had last time and describe them as honorable merchant society. And the planet that the Andorran Carpenters live on is the cluster's breadbasket. So there are vast. We have an implausibly rich number of garden worlds in that system, and they are producing the best food for the rest of the cluster. So that's the Andorran Carpenters. Then we have the Hub Slipstream Authority, short name the Authority. That's one of mine. That's the local government, if you will. It's a corporate government. It doesn't do much in terms of interfering with individual system and planetary governments, but it runs the Slipstream gate network, one example of which is behind me. It runs and maintains that. It is the overarching power, because it has, in theory at least, the power to switch off the gates. So that's the hub. Future. I think, Pavel, that is one from Harper's homeworld. Do you want to tell us about Future?
Future is a consortium of various companies which formed so that they can legally own space entities. It's a very cutthroat environment with mad scientists, short project, limited funding, which leads to some of this technology being field tested by mysterious stealth ships on unsuspecting populations. Some other technology is leaked or traded to the nefarious individuals like the raiders who will test this weapon for them and then send the feedback reports. I think I created the worst faction, looking at that the others are honorable, popular.
You are terrifying. You have created a terrifying scientific consortium. Well, that's just great.
Yes, and they are field testing some new way of travel because because there's a man-made anomaly and where they are testing potential for a new travel in their system.
Okay, so that's Future. The next one up are the Free People. These are this is one of mine. This is the faction associated with the planet that you are going to spend this downtime on, Oasis. The Free People are a defiant anarchist cult. I use cult not necessarily in the religious sense. I'm thinking that they are just a subsector of society. But yeah, they clearly have some gripes being defiant anarchists. Quite with whom we'll find out, I suppose. So those are the Free People. And finally, the other faction is again one of mine. This is from the system Ferran 50, the Belt, a system which is really made up of asteroids and rocks rather than planets. And I've created the Syndicate, a rapacious criminal network, because every space opera requires a rapacious criminal network, it seems to me. So those are our faction descriptions. In terms of, I noticed then that, Joe, you've gone for Gemma owing the Order of Obsidian Angels a debt, but you still get to choose whether you are otherwise independent or tied to one of the other factions more tightly. What's your thinking? Because you can betray anybody.
Okay, so that's where I guess I was a little confused. Am I choosing an allegiance for every single,
No.
or just ones that might make narrative sense?
You're broadly deciding whether you are an independent operator or you are
Okay.
loyal to one faction. If you're loyal to one faction, you pick one of them, and that not chosen
Okay.
becomes loyal. Or alternatively, you can select independent for all the other factions, but then you will divide, as it says, I think three debt anyway between three factions, but you get no favor from any of them.
Okay.
That's the broad choice. So I'm going to let you think about that and move along to talk about Riley. Gray, what are you thinking currently for Riley? A narrow loyalty to one faction, or a degree of independence across them all that means you owe everyone a bit of a debt, or a lot of people a bit of a debt?
That's a good question. Because I could see them as being fairly loyal to their home organizing committee. Or I could envision in a sense that they were like, no, I left, I traveled the galaxy. So I'm not sure which way I'm leaning yet.
Okay. I'll move along and ask Pavel whether you've had any thoughts about where Harper sits on this kind of independent operator or some loyalty to one of the factions.
Once a future, always a future, So even though I'm now traveling about, it just, I'm a scapegoat. They call me in to steal this tech and deliver this to this pirate. and so that they can have a plausible deniability. The technology was stolen. We didn't sell it to these pirates. Come on.
Right. So you are a plausibly deniable asset for future.
Of course.
Okay. I'm wondering which of the corporations, the FUTUR or E, you are most closely tied to, but we might discover that with time. So let me go back round. Joe, have you given? Are you narrowing in on loyal to one of the other factions or an independent operator?
I think it feels more like independent is the right answer.
Okay. So what you would do is for all the other ones apart from the Order of Obsidian Angel, you would use the drop down to select independent.
Okay.
Because you're independent of all of them.
Okay.
And what you can then do is to divide your 3 debts between those ones with which you are independent. You could have all 3 of them in one place, or you can have 1 debt with 3 different, or any combination thereof.
And so do you think I would leave betrayed under the Order of Obsidian?
Yes,
Okay.
because I think that the fiction has probably pushed us in that direction at this point.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I like that. Okay. So then I just have to, and then we'll figure out narratively what makes sense about those other things. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And so Riley, loyal to the organizing committee, they owe you a favor, you owe them 3 debts. Fine. And loyal, that works fine. So so if you want to think about where you want to put those debts and favors, Joe, for Gemma, that would be great. But there is something that I do remember from last time, which was when Harper was messing with that with the ship that was holding up the slip station. I do have this recollection of you rolling a fail when you were trying to work out what the registration of this ship was, and you got a name. But I think that, didn't we also say that they got a picture of you?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So I think that what I would like to do is to, I think the syndicate is now betrayed by you, because I do know the guy's name. What did I do with it? Hang on. Because I think that, it was registered to a J. Roberts, Jiang Yu Roberts, that ship. And Jiang Yu Roberts is connected to the syndicate. So I think as we enter this period of downtime, the syndicate feels betrayed by you. They won't come after you straight away because, time will pass, but that's hanging over you.
I think that's a bit harsh for just, knowing who the ship. I don't think it was a fail. I think it was a mixed result. And comparing this to betraying the faction outright, I think there are like 2 scales of betray.
Okay, no, I'll go with that. Let's have Roberts as a potential nemesis, and we'll see what happens as to whether that is bumped up to his bosses in the syndicate. Fair enough?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Can I ask one more clarifying question? I apologize. It's early where I'm at for me. So, if in choosing independent, so I'm going to have no favors, all debts, right? Because 1 debt from the betrayed, and then 3, which is fine. I'm just wanting to be sure so I should have 4 debts. Perfect. Yeah. And as I try to press you in terms of some of your complicated connections, we may see other betrayals or having to make a choice, conceivably. No, perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So with that bit of housekeeping done, let us cut to Oasis Downport. Your ship. Oh, did we name your ship? Has anybody had any thoughts about the name? I avoided it last time because I thought it might take us 30 minutes, but has anyone got any thoughts for the ship name? Nothing coming from Harper. Gemma, any thoughts?
I admit I haven't thought much about it.
Gray, what are you thinking?
I nothing off the top of my head. Do we have an idea of like where the ship came from? Like, did one of us buy this ship and then the other two moved in, or?
I think that probably this is a joint enterprise. So I think it is collectively owned at
Got
this
it.
point. It's certainly, I don't know whether scraping by helps. I mean, if in doubt, random spaceship names is never a bad place to go. Not sure any of those would work, but
Random generator threw me something like CS Intruder.
that's what came up on the fantasy name generator.
Yes.
They seem to be mostly location based. I'm going to continue just.
The Ace of Spades from that list sounded like something that our space cowboy would name it.
What about that? What about the Ace of Spades? I quite like the Ace of Spades.
Works for me.
Sounds
Okay.
cool.
Okay, I've added the Ace of Spades to the ship details. So the Ace of Spades is not capable of atmospheric travel. So you can only get to and from planetary services using your shuttle. Who routinely is your pilot? I'm curious. I mean, Harper saw himself as captain of the Ace of Spades, I think, just by default. But I'm curious who is the pilot when you're going to and from planetary surfaces. It's probably going to be a kind of hardware check, if that's of any interest. I mean, I'm not going to make you do that now, but just looking forward.
Yeah, it looks like Gemma or Riley have that. So I think probably either one. So I'll vote for Riley.
Sure.
Pilot, co-pilot, yeah. Harper is the passenger, so cut to Oasis Downport. Oasis Downport is really just a landing field near the town that is the only really civilized bit of this planet, because Oasis is basically a convict holding cell on a very large open plan scale. So Freetown, welcome to Freetown, says the loudspeaker. Freetown is in the middle of the desert, because that's all this planet is broadly. It survives on moisture farmers and providing a kind of place to spend some time. So I'm curious, how do we see Gemma spending this bit of shore leave? I'm curious, what does Gemma do on a planet when she's got some time off?
In this wretched den of scum and villainy.
For instance, yeah. I mean, it's almost impossible for me to get Mos Eisley and Mos Esper out of my mind at the minute. But,
I was trying to get the quote right with, but I think I butchered it. So I think she sits in a corner booth of a cantina and nurses a drink a lot. So let's put her there.
Does she look for company in the crew for that, or is this does she look to do this alone?
No, I think she does it alone, based on her sort of. I'm thinking in that sort of isolated sort of vibe. I don't think she would push anybody away, but I think she just kind of does her own thing. So
okay. What about Riley? How do we see Riley spending her time when she's got time off ship?
I think in Riley's downtime, what they're gonna do, I think they're gonna try and chat with random locals to see if there might be any interesting science things in the area, whether
Okay.
that's normal science things or like weird happenings that might support my fringe theory for my burden.
Exactly. And of course, Riley is looking for that big break to get her back on the net, get them back on the network. What about Harper? What does Harper like to spend time off ship doing?
Well, I noted down that there is like a space that I'm really interested in space bars, but why not? But why not go bigger? You know, deserts have vast open spaces. So Harper spends his time at this huge stadium, where is also a cantina. That and on the stadium, of course, take places some kind of races in some weird put together ships that barely hold on, have huge engines, and yeah, there's like crowds of people just like observing them because there's not much of entertainment, and this is the best they can get as a local sport.
Yeah, so betting on some kind of dirt track, speed event. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, gambling, whatever money he has left on putting it on there, and just like wondering how crazy would it be to sit on one of those things. No, probably I would win it. No problem.
So what I would ask you to do is just check out down there on row 36. There is, each of you has a unique downtime bonus. 2 of them relate to shore leave. Gemma's doesn't relate to shore leave. So Gemma's going to be, dealing with the move as straightforward. But I noticed that Riley gains advantage on the first shore leave roll you make in a given locale. And then are at disadvantage till you move on because you are the great explorer. So let's start with the straightforward bit of this then, which is Gemma. Basic move shore leave. When you take time off to explore and experience a society, such as you are in the corner of the cantina, I think a couple of people may be kind of, eyeing you across the cantina. Who's the loner? Roll 2d6. The link to the dice room is in the lines and veils tab. We seem to end up using pretty much the same set of dice, so I've just left one set of dice there just for ease, to be honest.
Perfect. I'm headed to I apologize, I didn't have that open.
No, as you say, Joe, it is very early where you are. We are very flattered that you were up at.
It's really not as early as I'm making it out to be, but my dogs were ornery last night. Let's just put it that way. So, all right. So 2d6, and it's just a straight up 2d6, right?
Straight 2d6.
All right. 7.
Okay,
All right.
So on 7 to 9, choose an opportunity and the GM will introduce it. You also recover. Now, recover is either fix a piece of equipment or fix yourself. So recover means that you can recover a point of stress if you want to do that, or you can, I don't think anybody got any damage done to their equipment. So it is probably down to just stress, to be honest.
Yeah, and I had 2 stress, so I'll take one of those off.
Okay. And then you choose either a friendly face. You get to know one or more locals and spend your time with them. You get a lead on a new mission or opportunity, or word on the street. The GM will prompt you about the locale, news, history, laws, factions, etc. While you're thinking about that, let me set Riley going. Now you're rolling with advantage because you are doing exactly what you are supposed to do to get advantage. You are just trying to find out what's going on around here. So you roll all 3 dice and throw away the lowest one.
All right.
Kind of just as well. So I'm seeing an 8. So again, you get to recover. I'm not sure that Riley took a beating last time, but I might be wrong.
I don't think so. Oh, I had a question about recovery.
Go on.
In our ship stats, the med base says something about recovery.
Oh, so it does. Yeah, well reminded. med bay. Add med bay to recovery. So Gemma can recover 2, which should be attractive to Gemma. Thanks for the reminder. So recover doesn't apply in your case because you're nothing to recover or nothing to fix. So this is just about choose an opportunity.
All right.
While you're thinking about that, I'm going to move on to Harper. Harper, you do have a bonus around this, but it's an aside to, not an addition to. So you roll the normal shore leave move, and then we mustn't forget that you do have a downtime bonus, which is about tinkering with your equipment. So you are just rolling 2d6 on the shore leave move. Oh, don't you love it when a 6 comes up?
And so there's a flat one, yes?
Yeah, no additions. Your burden rears its ugly head or a new danger crops up in this locale. I have exactly the danger that crops up in this locale. The racetrack and gambling operation that you are currently attending is operated by the Roberts family.
Of course, it is.
That seems to me just too good to miss. Yeah, I'll let you decide what you want to do with that bit of information. But yeah, this is run by the Roberts family. And they are a family, it appears. But you also get to, as it says in your downtime bonus, when taking shore leave, you can freely exchange a class 1 asset for a new model of the same form, but with a different upgrade or style. So what this means is if you look down at your gear, or up at your gear, actually, for instance, your cryo pistol, you can replace this with a different characteristic. So currently energy blast freezes, creates ice. That could become a different kind of pistol that replaces freezes with heats, for instance. So you can change the nature of the beast.
Yeah, this item
only if you wanted to.
Yeah, this item seems to be well put together, and exchanging one will be really weird. Creates heats up, but then creates ice, and it's like, what? Yeah,
I deliberately chose that one because it would be difficult to do that with a single change. But it could be that you could do something different with your stealth suit. I don't know. It's for you to think, really.
I don't think this place can even have anything I want to change with, because this is like below, well below cluster norms. They didn't even hear about freezing guns or stealth suits. This is like, yeah, not here.
Yeah, I'm curious if local authorities are going to have any interest in discovering how did somebody in the kind of merchandising portion of the space station end up getting rendered into chopped meat.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, time will tell. So let me go back round. Gemma, have you given any thought to which opportunity you are interested in exploring?
Yeah, so I think the word on the street. So
okay,
I think she is it. So can I ask? So is that a prompt? Do I pick that or do you pick that?
You pick which one. The GM will prompt you about the locale, but I'm very happy for you to tell me, news, history, laws, factions, etc. If there's something you are interested in finding out about, I'd very happily lean into that.
No, what I thought is that she's just being, she's just, it looks like she's just kind of not paying attention to anything, but she's always, because, she's always looking to be sure if there's any threats. And so I think she's overhearing some of the locals or whatever talking about something that's maybe going on or something.
I think it would be quite interesting if this related to the Order. Because we know that the Order had a ship in orbit up here or at the station up here and then departed through the gate. And I think you will overhear a discussion around the fact that the Roberts family are importing, they're described as security specialists to deal with a local problem. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll allow you to put 2 and 2 together for that one. What about Riley?
I think I am going to choose the help wanted option. I've got a lead on a new mission or opportunity.
Okay. And would you is this mission or opportunity on planet or off planet or at a different system?
I'm thinking there's something on this planet, as much as this planet seems like a not very useful backwater. Like I've been spending all my time talking to locals and, heard somebody's brother-in-law heard something.
If I think about the kind of expertise that you have available to you, it occurs to me that, yeah, you've heard of sand sifting. Sand sifting is the way that some people make a living here. There is something in the sand that is valuable. And the suggestion is that that somebody invested here some years ago in a kind of automated factory to speed up sand sifting. But that factory never really got off the ground. Investment collapsed. Whoever was funding it pulled the plug. The people you're talking to don't know about that. But what do you want the sifted sand, the product they get out of the sand, what do you want it to be related to? Are we talking about animal, mineral, vegetable? What is it that this stuff is about?
I think there's low concentrations of a rare mineral that, in the concentration, just find them in the sands, it's inert. But if you concentrate enough of it, it can be used to power certain kinds of exotic tools.
Okay. Can we leave it as it has exotic properties when accumulated, and presumably that's why it's worthwhile going through tons of sand looking for trace amounts of this and concentrating it. Fine. If somebody could find a big seam of this, maybe it would generate a gold rush on Oasis, but so far not happening. So we have several ways to go with this then. Riley has got a potential job. Somebody would be very interested in knowing who's thinking of getting this factory up and going again. Because that's what the word on the street is, that someone's expressed an interest or getting it going, trying to reignite the local economy. Okay. We know Gemma may now be concerned that there may be security specialists on planet connected to the order. And Harper, that the people that you pissed off, or who know that you did something they may not have wanted done, have significant stakes on the planet. So let's start with Harper. What do you do when you notice that, the billboards here are displaying adverts for Roberts Enterprises, Chief Executive Officer Jan Yu Roberts?
First on mute. I don't think I would take an action on it because probably this would turn out into a shootout. Yeah, I want to wait for the team to like first tell me what they investigated and that we decide on something.
Okay, so do you just leave the stadium, leave the racetrack, and go back to share information?
I'm just afraid that if I start doing something, it will spend their entire session on action shootout. So,
okay. Duck and cover sounds like Harper's response to knowing this.
Okay, if you really want me to take some action,
No, not at all.
I
I mean,
would-
I just, you can keep your head down and do nothing. I simply,
no, that's not
doing
Harper's style.
nothing is doing something.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Gemma will come to my rescue. Who knows? So I want to specifically take action and start and tell someone at the casino that I'm a good acquisition officer, and that I would very much love to meet said young Roberts, because maybe we can cut a deal.
Okay. So do you approach someone at the racetrack? You know, one of the bookies, or one of, you know, somebody who's seems to be in the office? Who just set the scene for me?
Set the scene. Yeah, I think always casino. So casino use their own chips or whatever currency, not like credits. So probably I go to does the guy has a name in the casino that exchanges money for chips? Cashier. And while buying or selling chips for my winnings, or buying more for my more losings, I just, like, drop the word that hey, so I just noticed that that this place is known as belongs to the Roberts family. I would is there an opportunity I can meet with some representative to discuss business opportunities? And myself, I'm good at acquisition, at acquiring stuff.
This sounds very much like seek an opportunity using socialize and listen. And you're wanting to take this scene and go somewhere else. So let's have you roll with influence.
Yeah, it's still a 6,
Okay. Well, this is going terribly well for poor old Sure Shot. So I think what happens is they say, "Oh, yeah, okay. Leave me your details, and I'll pass them up the chain, and someone will be in touch."
Yeah. I wonder how does communication works in this system. I suppose I leave them my communicator number, something like this.
Yeah, I think everybody has a unique comms tag of some description that works across the systems, across the cluster. Yeah, I mean, your smartphone is probably a lot smarter than the local tech, but still, I think that's the way that works. So seek opportunity, yeah, it's going to get tangled, because clearly we, the audience, know that they now have your details and may well put 2 and 2 together and get the right answer.
Of course, and I don't know that they know. I just wanted to play them because I know about them. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go round to Gemma. Gemma, what do you do with the knowledge that there may be members of the Order on planet? And again, I want to stress, this is not an enormous city. This is a town.
Yeah. So I think so. First of all, I'll say that like when we were talking about the communicators, I kind of get the vibe that Gemma would shut hers off when she goes to do this stuff, because she likes her isolation. So I wanted to lay that out there as a point. And then I think like if you think cinematically, I think you see her kind of shrink deeper into the corner of that booth and pulls her hood up over. And I think she's trying to figure out, she's thinking hard about like, about what this might mean, and then she's on maybe a bit of a heightened sense of alertness right now. But I think she's just gonna keep her head down right now and keep her eyes open. So
okay. And what about Riley? Riley, what do we see Riley doing with having discovered this potential opportunity?
All right. I think The first thing Riley does is like, finds a nice backdrop and like narrates a voiceover, like, yeah, so sand sifting.
Yeah, love it. And make sure that she has the records. There is a kind of this opportunity arises from a local, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say accountant, space accountant. A legal firm appears to be interested in finding out who's potentially going to invest in this factory. Now, Harper, you've had the brush off. Do you leave or do you hang about?
I suppose I stayed to lose even more. So because I didn't recover, so I probably like lost more than I won, and then get back to ship.
Then I think probably with that description, I think your creds drop from 2 to 1. That would go with, that was a really shitty day out, is the sense I get for Harper. Gemma, you're so I see you sinking back in the cantina. That leaves really Riley for someone to approach, and you will see a peacekeeper approaching you, Riley. The peacekeepers are the local corporate sponsored law. And he's got a pad, and you can see he's kind of making some inquiries, and somebody points in your direction. Do you want to do anything, or do you want to wait for the peacekeeper to arrive?
I think I'm gonna, since I've already gone into my sort of like talking head celebrity mode, I'm just gonna embrace that. Be like, well, hello. You may have heard of me. I'm here on your wonderful planet. Preparing to.
I mean, almost before he could open his mouth, I think you've jumped to the impress move. Is what I'm sensing when you speak persuasively. Roll plus influence.
All right, I'm gonna do that. So my influence is +2.
So that 6 becomes 8 if I've done my sums right. So on 7 to 9, describe how they see you, as in a 10 plus. Describe how they see you and how they feel about you, as soon as you give them something they want. So how do you want them to feel about you? What are you trying to achieve?
Like, as sort of a baseline, I want to not get in trouble with local law enforcement.
So they have a positive view of you, and in a perfect world, they know of you or know of your work.
Exactly.
Okay. Now on a 10 plus, I think I'd give you that. I think on a 7 to 9, he says, it says here that you're some kind of personality from off planet. So welcome to Oasis. But I just need to check in with you over a crime that is being committed. Could you come with me to the office?
What crime might we be talking about?
And he flips the pad round and shows you the CCTV of what went on the station. That is you,
goodness. Isn't it? That dreadful affair.
Yeah, I mean, you were not obliged to report it. The manager has contacted us. We're just doing the paperwork to just tidy up the loose ends.
Sure. Yes, of course. I'd be happy to help you.
And what would be really helpful if you and the rest of your crew could come to the office later this afternoon.
My crew is like pretty tied up in some essential maintenance right now, but let me give them heads up. I'd be happy to come with you now and have a chat.
Well, if maybe we can tidy up that way, that would be fine. Thank you. Just come with me.
As I'm
and he
following him, I sort of like send a ping to Harper. And I try to send one to Gemma, but her phone
bounces
is off.
back. So Harper, Riley is off to the Peacekeeper office. Does that stimulate you to go one way or the other?
Uh,
Do you go back to the area where the Peacekeeper office is, or are you going to leave Riley to sort this out?
I just like reply. Okay. I mean, do you need help? Do you want me to come, or like?
Riley?
No, I think Harper would like. Do you want me to bust you out of there?
I'm gonna send back like only if my comms go dark.
Seems fair. Seems fair. So Riley, let's put you in the office, and it is a long and tedious process, but the impression you get is they are just going through processes here. They are, really sorry to inconvenience somebody who's, with your kind of profile. But so we need to know, just, is there anything in the video that you think has been tampered with? Is there a fair and appropriate record of what went on? Because we got statements from the staff. I just need you to confirm that what you're seeing is what happened.
All right. So if I look at the video, like, does it mainly just show, we show up, we fight some guys with guns, then we leave?
Yeah, it does appear that you come out of it well. He says clearly, the manager's informed us that he's undertaken to provide you with some, a reward for your community-oriented activity, and we can only apologize that you got tied up in this. It's really none of our business. I mean, interestingly, Mr. Roberts reported that his shuttle was stolen from the field earlier that day. So clearly, they're very keen to get their shuttle back. So we'll have a cleanup crew go and pick it up and bring it down. But other than that, I thank you for your intervention. Those people could have got really hurt.
Well, we're always happy to help someone in need.
Well, and before you go, just in case I come across someone who's seen your show, would you just sign this?
Of course, I would be happy to.
And I'll go out of my way to check out what we've got in the archives. Gemma, you've spent the afternoon nursing this drink in the shadows. At what point do you leave the cantina? And if you do, where do you go?
Yeah, so I think at some point she kind of makes her decision and she pops her comm link back on, of course, and it ding, 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 all of the messages. She kind of just shakes her head because, all the chatty Cathys and stuff. But I think she's kind of made the decision, and she sends something to both Riley and Harper and just says, I think it's time for us to leave and get off planet. Let's get out of here. And then she's going to get up and she's going to head back. She's going to try to head back towards to the shuttle. Because it's not because the ship is still up in. Yeah. Okay.
So Riley, Gemma's heading back to the shuttle. Harper, you'll get that message from Gemma, and Riley's signal never went dark. And in fact, Riley probably tells you, don't worry, it's all gone very smoothly. Do you mention anything about the Roberts connection, Riley? The fact that Mr. Roberts reported his shuttle stolen earlier that day.
I feel like that's a conversation I would save for when I get back to the shuttle.
Okay. So Harper, do you want to rendezvous with the shuttle?
Yes.
So what's the conversation when we get back to the shuttle? The shuttle, my guess is you're probably, if you're going to stay here for several days, is probably going to be where you're sleeping, because with the best will in the world, your resources don't run to the local hotels, maybe the flop house. So what's the conversation? Gemma is clearly says, let's just go.
I think her attitude is really sort of like, there's nothing here for us. Let's just, let's get what we, I'm assuming we attempt. I mean, I know we don't have a lot of resources, but there's just, if we need to refuel, if we need to, that's why we stopped here. Let's get moving. There's no point in sticking around.
Well, the upside is that the manager of the station allowed you to refuel for free. So
Right.
you could leave none the worse off. But currently the cargo pod is empty. You have no passengers. You go somewhere else, you're going to spend money without earning any.
Yeah, the town is a sinkhole. I try to ingratiate ourselves into this Roberts family because I really wanted to extort them for not revealing to the peacekeepers that their shuttle was on there, but they didn't want to talk to me. So yeah, no luck.
Yeah, the Roberts family, like that shuttle that you investigated when we were at the station.
Yeah. I hugged the register to know like where it was coming from, and it was registered to the Roberts.
Yeah, I
And since
heard
register
from
was
the
also, yes.
oh I heard from the peace officer that they reported it stolen earlier that day. Whether that's stolen or stolen.
Exactly my line of thinking. Anyway, the racetrack is there, so I tried to like meet with them and maybe get some job from them, but yeah, they didn't want to meet. If we can like hang out like a day or two, maybe they will ping me on the messenger, unless you guys found some job. I didn't.
Well, I did hear one lead. There's somebody looking to start back up the old sand sifting factory, and somebody else wants to know who. I imagine that if we trawl through some records, could track down something. Maybe earn a few creds.
I mean, specifically, Riley, if you check out the ship sheet, you'll see that a local job would earn you 1 unit, which would move you into the green at least. And to do that, you need to kind of firm up exactly what that legal firm is prepared to pay for.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the job if you wanted to
Got it.
take it.
I
Gemma?
mean,
How are you feeling? Because seems like there
So,
might be an urge to stay.
Yeah, and so guys, I know we need the money, but I just need to tell you, it sounds like some of my sisters are on planet, and it would not be good for us to run afoul or get in their way. I'm good at what I do, but there's I just think we need to be careful if we stay here.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I think this old factory is way out in the desert. It's not in town. So if these folks would mainly be in town or dealing with the.
Yeah, and I don't really know. I just heard in the cantina that there's some that the Roberts may be involved and so I just, again, I know we need the money, but we just need to be careful.
I will just put on the table the other thing you can do is you can put out the word that you want a job that takes you off planet. If you go to the hospitality, which when you put the word out and or look for a job, say which of the jobs available to the crew with your resources you want, and whether you want it to be legal or illegal. That might earn you something more, because there's other jobs earn you more than one. Cargo passenger run earns you 2, bounty hunting 3, a risky scheme 5, and if it's an illegal risky scheme, that's 6. No guarantee you'd get it, but there are other ways to make money than just taking the local job on offer. I'm going to suggest we're 5 past the hour. Let's take let's go until 1/4 past the hour and just give some thought to which, if any, of these opportunities you want to pursue. Okay?
Sure.
Fine. I'll
Perfect.
see you at 1/4 past. Okay, back from the break. So the question is, do you just leave? Do you want a job, or do you want to take the job that's already on the table with the legal accountancy firm? What are you thinking, Riley?
Well, it's nothing big or splashy, but it'll learn us a few creds, and maybe we'll get to find some interesting stuff about the hyperdust situation. So
I'm playing into last time's wish to do some science stuff. What about Gemma? Still keen to leave.
I think she'll grudgingly support the majority. And full disclosure, out of character, I kind of want us to stay. So, but I'm trying to play my character. So there's that. So
Harper, what are you thinking?
So I will do you one better. So we have to wait and research who else wants to know about this factory. Then we learn who runs the factory. Then we go to both sides, get the paycheck for them not to tell someone that they are doing this, for these guys from telling them who is doing it, and we'll leave, filthy rich.
It seems almost a no-brainer to do it any other way. What other approach could a scoundrel possibly apply? So this is about hiring, a vehicle to get out into the desert to where this factory is, and doing some research on the spot, or doing some legwork in town, Riley. You're the instigator here, so go and investigate, or do some legwork.
Well, I want to get a look at this sand sifting dust myself, so I want to get out in the desert.
Okay.
shall we split up and do both of those things?
Oh,
Because it always gets interesting when you split the party, right?
Okay. Well, I mean, sure shot. Are you talking about doing some local legwork to find out who else might be interested in this? So you do the prep work in advance?
And it's not a basic move. Let's use it.
And Gemma, do you stay and babysit Harper, or do you go and look after Riley?
No, I think as I'm still not unconvinced that Harper is competent. So regardless of the unfairness of the dice, but so I do think she would be more interested in protecting that. I think there's more danger, in her mind, to potentially protect Riley and stuff. And Alan, I don't know if there's an opportunity. So I picked a debt to the free people as one of my things. And so I think, I'll throw this out there and you can completely just nix it. But I do think maybe after leaving the order, she spent time here, right? And so I think maybe she feels a little bit of an obligation to the people of free, because my vibe from what you've described is there's the weird culty people, right? And there's a criminal element here, but there's a lot of people who have settled here just because they don't like the yoke of the man, so to speak, right? This gives them an opportunity to live free the way they want to. That obviously tugs at her a little bit, and so I don't know if maybe that's the reason why she's able to be convinced to stay on planet with Riley. And I guess I'm also kind of pimping to try to work at that debt too. So
yeah. Because I think the reason I went for cult was actually I couldn't think of another. Let's call it a movement. So it's not as, because cult brings inevitable stuff with it. So a defiant anarchist movement. So Yeah, I am going to ask you about how you come to owe them a debt at some point in this session. Yeah. And let's see where the free people come from and what they do. So, Riley, do you want to? I think this will cost you a credit in higher car costs or higher track costs.
Sure.
The technology here is well below cluster norm, so we're talking about a large kind of flatbed truck of some description with big wheels to get through the soft sand. And we see you and Gemma heading off into the desert. You've been told you can find, where the factory is, not a problem. If you can get the information back to Sindel and Partners, then you will earn. Harper, what kind of legwork or activity do you want to undertake in Freetown as a backup to this?
I suppose I'm putting out a word that we are looking for a job.
Okay, so let's go to, you mean a kind of crew job in the sense of when you put the word out for a job, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have you roll +1 because you have hospitality of +1.
A courtesy of the player who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
That's a 6.
Gee whiz, you are just working it today. So tell me which kind of job you were going after, because clearly this is not going to go as well as you'd hoped. And the options are cargo or passenger run, bounty hunting, or a risky scheme.
I was, of course, going for risky scheme. I want to learn.
Of course you were.
I want to know about this factory, who we can, to whom we can sell it for the most money.
Play both ends against the middle.
Cross.
Of course. And this was, of course, an illegal approach, because the legal approach would just be go find out and give the information to the people who've asked for it. So, yes. On a 6 mile, as for a 7 to 9, but the GM chooses a complication that will need to be undertaken, overcome, or avoided if you are to complete the job. Choose to get either the job you wanted or the legality you wanted, with the GM choosing the other one. So do you want to get the lead on a risky job? But it's not going to stay secret, so it won't be illegal. Or do you want to stick with illegal and I'll offer a different kind of job?
I want risky scheme.
Okay, you go for this risky scheme. Then I think that this is going to require a potentially risky location, because as you're making inquiries around town, a ground car pulls up beside you. It's a very attractive limo style car. And the window winds down and somebody says, "Excuse me, Mr. Harper, sorry, I've forgotten your second name. Mr. Wilkerson." It is Mr. Wilkerson, isn't it?
That depends who's asking.
You left your contact details with my employer.
Of course, yes.
Please just get in the back and we'll take you to meet him.
Perfectly, yes. That's the thing I was waiting for. Yes, of course.
And you get into the back of the limo and are whisked to what passes for. Now I'm thinking that while the racetrack that you've occupied, there is a corner, someone has developed that into what passes locally for a luxury hotel, which is to say it's not particularly luxurious and it's very dusty, but it is as good as it gets. And it's called Sunshine View. So you are being whisked away to Sunshine View. Do you ping the team about this, the crew about this, or are you're confident you can hack this?
I can leave them demo message. Everything is going according to plan, going to meet Roberts.
So, cut to arriving at this moth-balled factory, Riley. I see you coming over a dune, and there's this clearly dropped as modular units into the desert. And what do? Clearly sand has blown across it. You know, one side is probably decently buried in sand. Another couple of years and this could just be another dune. But
So
Riley,
it
what
doesn't
do you
look
do?
like anyone's been digging it out recently. Or...
Well, that seems to me to be an opportunity for you to seek an opportunity as you observe discreetly.
Sounds good.
Let's have you roll with precision, unless you've got a move that does this better.
I could use examine to
examine.
analyze a subject or anomaly or judge. I guess this would be judge tech or structures because
I
these are
think so.
structures.
I
All
think
right, so I need to roll plus hardware.
Go for it.
Alan, is there any mechanic for aiding people in this game?
Not that I can see.
Okay.
I think that if you can narratively set up an advantage, then you could then offer the opportunity for them to roll with advantage.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so I roll a 7, which becomes an 8.
Okay, so 7+. Choose a line of questioning the GM will elaborate. And again, with all of these kind of PBTA lists of question areas, I will be as flexible as I can. So, you know, if there's nothing precise on there, you tell me what you're after.
All right, so separate from the list, I think what I'm trying to find out is whether there's been any kind of recent activity here or whether these have actually been abandoned all these years.
Okay. I think if it was valuable, someone would have been here, wouldn't there? So yeah, I can go with that. But on a 7 to 9, introduce a threat the subject presents. It may still be leveraged to your advantage. So I think that there is sign of this having been visited.
All right.
What threat do you want to introduce here? Could it be that someone is on site, for instance, or?
That seems like the most obvious threat of whoever's trying to start this up again is here and not looking for visitors.
So why don't we say that there is a similar kind of dune buggy, a group of two or three dune buggies outside the factory, and it looks like there are visitors on site. Does that seem like a reasonable place to start from? Okay,
yeah.
Let's cut back to Sure Shot. Cut to Sure Shot in a what looks like on Oasis what passes for a boardroom. So I think that there is a view on one side over the racetrack. I'm imagining those kind of conference rooms that we find in football stadiums in the UK. So it overlooks the pitch on one side, looks over the track on one side, and the other window overlooks Freetown, this dusty, rundown, low-tech town. And sitting at the boardroom table is somebody, Mr. Roberts will see you now, and two women bodyguards, and you recognize them as members of the order because of their cheek tattoos. You're familiar with that from Gemma. Mr. Wilkerson, please sit down. And of course, the only other seat is at the far end of this long boardroom table. And clearly the intention here, Harper, is to give you an impression of just how powerful Mr. Roberts is.
I mean, she can dress however she likes. She owns a piece of sand. So I suppose I don't sit on the chair. I just lean over the table and grab a glass of water. Just not next to her. Just I'm not sitting on the chair. Just sitting on the table, showing that yeah.
Goes exactly with your sense of superiority, doesn't it? And I think you can mark laboring under your burden here, because this is taking a risk, Harper, isn't it? And so Jiang Yu looks at you and says, I wanted to invite you round to just say thank you for your intervention.
Oh, you mean the intervention up in the space?
Indeed, my personal shuttle was stolen that day by a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, it appears, and quite what they expected, how they expected to get away with it, I can't imagine. But your intervention and that of your crew, they are your crew, are they not?
Uh, yeah. Wow. So Harper knows that that Gemma is hiding from her order. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm the captain of the ship. I just like take some passengers left and right. We just happen to dock there, so drop them off.
Okay. I think that given that you've taken a slightly front foot forward approach, this is you're kind of lying to Janu Roberts here, aren't you? So I think I am going to ask you to face adversity with influence when you speak truth and lies.
Yeah, although this will not go to because I want to say that I have a crew, but we'll see. Wow, we got a 7. Wow, I'm slowly climbing up.
That counts as an enormous success today for Harper, I think. So on a 7, you get the one thing you wanted to. So you get that she takes you at face value at this point.
Mhm.
You get one thing you want to achieve, but the GM fully enacts existing dangers or introduces new ones. The other reason I wanted to talk to you, Mr. Wilkerson, can I call you Harper?
I'd rather, Miss Roberts, I'd rather maybe like a sure shot. That's my, a call sign.
Okay, so sure shot. The other reason I want to talk to you is that you were asking some questions around town about the sand sifting factories. Are you interested in it at all?
I've heard that some people are interested in them, and that makes me interested in them because maybe one of those interested parties would like to acquire my services in doing something with this factory. I know some influential people, so it depends what everyone wants from this factory.
I suppose I have an interest in a number of things around Freetown. And I suppose that because you were so proactive, shall I say, on the station, I just wanted to tell you that I think that line of inquiry is one that you should perhaps not pursue. It is very clear that he is warning you off.
I thought it was her. I thought young Roberts was a she.
I've got him written down as a he, him.
Okay. These names are sometimes confusing.
Yeah, I should have specified. I apologize.
Well, Mr. Roberts, thank you very much for your good advice on how to behave on such a backwater planet like Oasis. I wouldn't like to get into the trouble. If you say this isn't worth pursuing, that's a very good notion. Thank you very much.
I would just hate for you to get involved in something that tied you down here.
Yes, definitely. I mean, now that the refueling station isn't under some rebel control for whatever nefarious reasons, I could just like jump on my ship and leave.
Well, if that was something you wanted to do, then clearly you'd be very welcome anytime to visit Oasis. But I think just steer clear of the whole sand sifting business.
Yes, of course, I will. Thank you. And you have my number. If you will actually want to hire me for something rather than advise me not to do something, I'm also very open to. If you need some help moving stuff around or acquiring stuff, I'm also available. But yes.
Yes, my associates have your details, and we'll be in touch if we need to.
Well, thank you for driving me to this wonderful location, Mr. Roberts. I will not take any more of your time.
Enjoy the rest of your stay, albeit however brief it is. And just pick up from reception. There's a small gift for you.
Sure, thank you. I have to get the food. I'll be right.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So let's cut back to the desert. Gemma, you've spotted that the factory is not deserted at this moment. What do you do? Or advise Riley to do?
So did we just like barrel on up over, or did we kind of like stop and just kind of like, I think, yeah. So
Riley would have deferred to Gemma's advice on this.
yeah, so I think, you know, we're obviously watching from a somewhat stealthy, maybe perspective.
The truck is parked down on the downside of the dune, and you're looking over the top of the dune at where this factory is.
We see there's two vehicles we see, but have we seen any people yet, or just the vehicles?
I think that this is so far out of the way that it's not like they're going to leave people to watch the vehicles. So, you know, each of these vehicles could carry 3, maybe 4 people. So in terms of Gemma's threat assessment, there could be anything from 2 to 8 people in there.
Right. And I think we would assume if they can hold 3 or so people, we'd have to, and they have 2 vehicles, I think we probably have to fairly assume they've got at least one of them was full. That's why they have 2. That's at least what we'll go with, right?
I think that is certainly the approach Gemma would take. And
so, you know, so clearly we're not alone, Riley. Do we want to try to get closer? What do you need to see to you know, what do you need here? I think I'm gonna like, what do you need? Because, you know, this could be dangerous if we have to get closer.
All right, I think Riley is torn between, ooh, cool science, but we could just finish this job.
Well, we don't yet know. We just know there's people out here.
Yeah.
I think we don't yet know who they might be. So
I think when you ask me what I need, I first go, well, I need a large enough sample of sand that's likely to have a high enough particulate ratio that. Well, but for the job, if we're lucky, these trucks belong to someone. We could find out who. If we're unlucky, they rented like us.
Yeah, so I think I would recommend we try to get closer on foot, and maybe check out the truck, see if we can find anything out. Maybe I would recommend all kind of keep watch on. I'm assuming there's some, as we get closer, we're going to see there's some sort of entrance to the facility, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, the 2 sand buggies are parked at an entrance, and I think it's clear from Riley's observation that those doors have not been opened in a while, but they are now open.
Okay.
All right. So maybe what we could do is, maybe we could have one of you've got some drones, don't you?
Yeah, I could send a camera drone over, see if I can see anything on the truck.
Yeah, that might be, yes, I like that. That's much safer.
I think at the same time, since I've got my hazmat drone, I'm going to send it to try and get a sample of sand, just in case, I can get some interesting stuff.
Okay. So, this feels like pilot or use machinery.
Yeah.
To seek an opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is roll plus hardware. to seek an
Alright.
opportunity is, I think, the best.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I think that using drones, I think if it was just you and a pair of binoculars, it would be precision. But I think it's hardware.
Yeah. All right. So my hardware is +1, and so this 6 becomes 7, fortunately.
Okay, so what do you want to find? You are, it is clear that the hazmat drone will just analyze the sand at your feet. You don't need to do anything else with that. And the particulates are measurable, and that explains why sand sifting on this planet makes an effect. I'll give you that for nothing. The one that, because you've got another drone, haven't you? That I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, so I've got a camera drone and a hazmat drone.
That's right. So the camera drone can drop.
That's the one I've sent to look at the trucks and see do they have a tag on them that says property of the syndicate or.
That would be so convenient, wouldn't it? Well, you tell me, because you find what you were looking for. You will get. There is a tag, I think, on the side of this. It's not one you recognize, but it's one Gemma recognizes as the kind of tag that the free people use. But do you want this to lead you to a new location? Do you want because I think these are more helpful ways to describe this. Do you want to face a difficult choice? Do you want to face an antagonist? Or do you want to involve your burden in some way, Riley?
So I could definitely imagine there being a difficult choice if it's the free people doing this and they don't necessarily want the law firm to know.
And I think that is the moment when Harper's message pings through to you saying what it says in the chat. Obsidian's at Robert's side. I was strongly advised not to get involved, so we kind of know who is involved. Smiley face. So, Riley, if you think the free people are involved, Harper is suggesting, I think, that Roberts is also involved. So I think the difficult choice here is, do you stay or do you go?
Yeah. What do you think, Gamma? You have some experience with these folks, right?
Yeah, tell us about the experience, Gemma. How do you end up owing the free people a debt?
So I think so. Let me answer a question with a question. So are the free people an organization, or is it sort of like a reference to all of these sort of like frontier sort of settler type people?
Okay, so I think that bear in mind that Oasis is in effect a convict planet, right? So people are sent here from across the cluster for crimes. Freetown, freewheeling home of former convicts and other embracing the frontier life. The free people are defiant anarchist movement. I think it's fair to say the free people want Freetown to be run by the people for the people, rather than by crime or by Sutler Correctional, who are the people running the convict end of this, or even the peacekeepers. So I think the anarchist bit of this is that they want Freetown to be genuinely free.
Okay, so they're kind of
does that fit?
Yeah. So they're kind of a faction that are in between the corporate prison company and the syndicate. They're kind of
independent of both, I think, and would prefer Freetown not to be connected or under the thumb of either.
So my thought is that when Gemma first fled her order, she ended up here and was in the free people took her in and helped her. She was either injured or she was lost in the sense that if you think about her order, everything is very regimented and structured, and then now all of a sudden she was out somewhere where and so she owes them a debt because they for all intents and purposes, they saved her and helped her when she needed it. So
does that begin to help Riley frame a response to this difficult choice?
I wanted to ask one question because so we have like syndicate involved, 2 people involved. I feel that we should have maybe attach peacekeepers as the extension to either the authority or the one of the other factions, because otherwise peacekeepers are just like a small independent unit owned by no one. So,
well, I think at this point, all I think you can conclude about where the peacekeepers sit on this is that they are a corporate body. They are paid by the authority to keep the peace. And they seemed, I suppose, from Riley's point of view, to swallow the idea that the shuttle was stolen earlier that day pretty easily, maybe suspiciously easily. So I think there is probably a question mark over the honesty of the peacekeepers. You know, keeping the peace on a rock like this is a thankless task, so probably very badly paid. Does that help place them?
Yeah, so privately owned small private army of jailers to hired by authority, paid by authority.
And probably corrupted by the Roberts family, I think is what our audience is concluding.
Perfect.
At this point. So Riley, oh, go on, Gemma.
No, I was going to say, I think it's at some point in here, you know, Gemma and Riley in this discussion, I think Gemma's like, this is kind of confusing, right? Like, I'm not sure what's going on here because the free people, and it looks like free people vehicles wouldn't have anything to do with the syndicate, right? I mean, they don't like the syndicate any more than they like, what is it, Sutter or Sutler or whatever.
Yeah, it makes sense. So like if they're here, then but Robert's also this is
odd, right? I think we think this is odd. And you know, I wonder, given her, you know, that maybe we should dig a little deeper here and see what's I'd like to dig a little deeper and see what's going on here. Can we maybe send one of your drones into the facility, kind of maybe try to get a little intel, you know, on what might be happening?
I think that's probably too far, because I think one of the descriptors gives
they're both close proximity.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, it can go over the dune and get maybe 50 yards from you, but I think you're further than that. And once it goes inside there, I think it's pushing it.
Well, I guess that just means we'll have to get closer.
Well, you said these free people are friendly, right? Let's just go talk to them.
I mean, I guess I feel like she probably feels like she has some association with the free people. So I'm not, you know, but so instead of just waltzing in like, hey, I know the free people, right? I think because of this weird Roberts thing or whatever, I think we want to be a little more cautious, but let's try to get closer. Maybe we could see a little bit more about what's, you know, these vehicles, right? A physical examination, and then maybe get the drone further inside.
I'm looking at the Vanguard career skill, secure, where, you know, move people in and out. That to sneak in, to move people in or out of the factory. Just looking at it, it doesn't sound like forcefully seize control, but it might coordinate a strike to get the pair of you in.
But then it involves like coordinated strike is like shooting someone.
No, I you know, move people in and out. What you do, a strike on a location. So, you know, breaking in, finding a way in that doesn't attract attention. I think that I'm prepared to see it used that flexibly.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, if you think about a strike more broadly, right, like that, it would be, you know, we're executing we're going to get closer. I'm going to attempt to kind of secure the location. So it kind of puts into that whole block exit sentry sort of thing. let Riley take a closer look at the vehicles, get her drone inside there. I'm with you. Of course I'm with you, right? It's going to give me
so roll plus mind then.
All right. So
I think I'm gonna let you roll with advantage because the drone has given you an overview of the immediate location.
Okay.
That seems fair.
So all 3 dice, I don't have any plus for mind, so we'll let the dice. I'm hoping that Pavel's taken all the 6s and lower, so he has not.
Turns out that's not true. No, that's a 5. A 1, a 4, and a 1. My goodness me, how very interesting. So the objective was to get you in and not be observed, so Riley could pop a drone in or get a look inside, see what's going on. Okay, so this is about moving people in and out. So chooses 1 from the list above. No one controls the situation. Okay. I think I will have Gemma and Riley sheltering behind one of these dune buggies, all set to kind of try and see what's going on inside one way or the other. And then, Gemma, I think you will hear the click of a shotgun being primed behind you. What do you do, Gemma? And somebody will say, I don't think you should make any sudden moves, friend.
Yeah, I think she will just kind of slowly, get a stance of, okay,
And there's a woman standing behind you, rough set of coveralls, heavily worn, clearly spends a lot of time in the outdoors. I heard tell that Roberts had hired outside help. Cut back to Harper. Harper, you've sent the message. Do you want to do what Jiang Yu's told you to do, which was to just, keep a head down? But when you leave reception, you will find a little bundle of chips, betting chips, as a reward for your effort. So you can add 1 cred. Because you could either cash them straight in or you could use them.
Well, I think I wasted enough time of the session to do nothing. So I will cash them in and actually go. Since they didn't offer to come pick me up, I think I will go and rent some, I don't know, sand bike, dune bike, and go after them.
Yeah, I definitely want to see a motorbike with big tires in this game, on this planet. So yeah, put a credit back into the local economy, and head off. Again, there has to be, plume of dust as the motorbike heads off into the desert.
One thing I would add is that,
flapping behind you.
One thing I would add is that Harper kind of knows this game, so first he will make sure that he's not being followed by Robert's goons, and then heads out into the desert.
Okay.
Because he expects that he might be followed, just to make sure that he's true to his promise.
Well, I mean, this sounds like infiltrate when you sneak into an area would both ensure that if it went well, that nobody followed you there, and that you arrived unseen. If I'm reading that move right.
Perfect.
So let's have you roll with precision.
Yeah, let's test those 6s. Yeah, the dice really hate us, but that's
no. I'm sure only the 5 flipped. Just click the 1 and roll it again, because they always move. Yeah, like that. So,
okay, so now it's a 10.
Oh well, now we're talking. It's that may well be the first 10 we have rolled, maybe in 2 sessions. So when you sneak into an area on a 10+, choose which opportunity you seize. You're not going to be followed. You get that for nothing because that was your objective.
Yeah, I think since I'm coming in and don't really know the area, don't have contact with them, because I have probably written, "Hey guys, where are you?" and didn't get any response. I think it makes sense for me to get a recon or scout layout of the situation, basically to learn what they learn about it, and maybe see
Okay.
them being like held at a shotgun range.
I think that you'll see them being escorted into the building covered by a shotgun. But I think in terms of recon, gain information, scout layout, you will notice what neither of them did, because maybe you come in at an oblique angle, is that I told you that the one wall was almost packed with sand. There is a way to the roof up that dune, and you can see from your point of observation that there is either an entrance or some skylights or something else in that roof that would give you access to, or at least a view into, the inside. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair. So I think what we will see from a Harper, he takes off his like outside clothing, and underneath we see that he has like some kind of like a totally black, sleek uniform, and then he just like puts on his masks. He like presses a few buttons, and suddenly he's partly see-through, partly yellow as the sand, and we only see the footsteps on the sand getting in closer, going to this entrance.
Yeah, this is so Predator stealth suit. So there's just a slight discontinuity as he moves in front of stuff, but in this environment, that's really going to be really difficult. So cut to a blur observing inside the factory. And inside the factory is Gemma and Riley with a group of 8, we assume 3 people. And one of them turns around and says to Gemma, "I thought that our help might have meant you wouldn't take a job like this." It is one of the people who helped you.
Okay, and I need to tell you real quick, I'm getting some weird, your internet is having issues.
Oh.
So if I pop off, I'll get on as quickly back as I can, but just, it seems a little better now, but a little bit ago it was being wonky for me. So I just let you know if I do disappear, it's not on purpose. So yeah, so like let's say it's I'm thinking of a name in my head. If somebody else pops in,
I've got a name for you if you want it. It's Francine Dubček.
Okay. I'd say, Francine, you know me. Nobody owns me.
So what are you doing here, Gemma?
Well, we had a job somebody wanted to find out who's starting up the factory, and so we were checking this out. What do the free people want with this? We're hearing that Roberts might be involved. Are you working for Roberts now?
Robert wants to keep this place mothballed. Roberts wants to funnel all the money through Freetown and through him.
So they're basically trying to. This is them trying to start up an enterprise to compete almost, right? So
to establish some other kind of economic base.
Okay.
And we made some inquiries off planet, and there might have been some investors, but they wanted to know. So, and you notice now that one of them has got kind of camera equipment and is just photographing and getting a sense of the space. Harper, you'll see all of this go on, and as long as the others have their comm link, you know what's going on down there. So I just want to give you opportunity to intervene or not intervene or reveal yourself or whatever else.
So is it like just a point of observation, or can I actually infiltrate from the roof?
Oh, on a 10 plus, I owe you a decent success, for God's sake. So yeah, I'm very happy for you to be, in the rafters above this, if you want to be in the stealth suit.
I think I would like to be inside, seeing that they are not like in immediate danger and that these are not robbers' goons. I will just like stay in there. I'm not sure if we can like communicate. Do we have like do we say that the comms are like implanted, or do we have like manual read?
I think as long as you have your comms open, you can hear what's going on around one another. That's quite so. That works for me, because if someone shouts at Harper now, the others would hear that, or vice versa. So yeah, it's much easier if you know what's going on than we have to have some kind of fictional.
Yeah, I would probably then just like whisper into the comms. I'm on position 5 meters above you, just keeping watch that everything goes okay.
And what that converts to, I think, is that you would have advantage to do anything where that bit of fictional positioning would benefit you. So Gemma, I'm curious what Riley thinks of all of this. Riley, where are you?
So I say to Francine, ma'am, we had no idea about the situation. Of course, we're not gonna sell you out to Roberts. That's not who we are.
So
are we kind of getting a vibe maybe that the firm that hired us was maybe working for Roberts, or I mean, obviously something weird here. So I think I'd like to also take this, I want to, I'm assuming we're like, hey, can you get your guns off us maybe now and stuff? And I want to
tension drops,
so I want to tell, Riley, the free people helped me when I first fled my order. And, I've seen, so I think she's seen the hardships that they're under. So she has a real, I mean, these people suffer immensely under the yoke of either, they're caught between the syndicate, they're caught between, I'm feeling, if we can help them, we should help them. This is, you can't imagine the life that they live and the yoke that they live under. So.
Sure, absolutely. I'm happy to help, but I doubt they want publicity.
Well, strange you should say that. Because if you could somehow undermine Robert's standing in the community, and then looks at Gemma and says, or reduce his ability to use the heavy hand, then that would help. The peacekeepers are in his pocket. We heard that he was importing muscle. If this goes sideways, we just need time to put the finance package in place.
So, Riley, maybe, I mean, maybe, we can gather some, I'm thinking that like maybe Riley can utilize her, I don't want to say you're not an investigative reporter, but you investigated things. You have,
absolutely.
Maybe one of the things maybe you could find a way to gather some information, and we could make it public, at least to make Roberts uncomfortable, right? And get, or occupy him, get him occupied, or is it a him or a her? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Him. I'm wishing I'd gone with her now, because I think we're all confused. They are fine.
We'll say they. But like but maybe we can shift his attention some way, like I'm you could maybe do some
I'm great at getting attention.
Well, no,
right.
We're 5 past the hour. I'm going to suggest we take our second 5-minute break, back
Okay.
at 10 past, and then cut to making a plan. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, they're installing Google Fiber for us right now, so we're very happy about that.
So we're back from our last break, and the situation we have is that both the Free People and the Roberts family are interested in this factory, one to open it and the other one to keep it closed. And so I'm cut to a conversation between the three of you about how you can somehow undermine the Roberts family. And I think you've got as far as saying, well, if you could find some dirt, Riley could certainly get it out there.
Yeah, and so just for clarification, so I was, because one of the things you said was around I can get attention. I was leaning more towards not putting you in the danger of like, hey, everybody look at me instead, but more kind of using your reportery skills to like gather information. I in my head I see sort of like where in the scenes where like the information is broadcast out to that kind of stuff, so that was, I just wanted you to know I wasn't suggesting, hey, go go put yourself in danger and create a distraction over here. I'm more leaning in towards setting up an opportunity for you to do your thing. So that was.
Pavel, we've just started a very brief discussion about how you are going to somehow get some leverage on Roberts, because I think the view is that Riley would have the tools to get the message out, but it's just, what are you going to go after? And then that'll define how you get it.
Can I ask for a brief summary? Because I was focused on my action and on the moves and on everything. What is the general problems? The Free People want to restart the factory. Roberts don't want to use them. Why Robert doesn't want this factory to be operational or something? Like I'm missing what we actually need to like gather.
Okay, so if Roberts doesn't want this factory opened because it keeps everything running through Freetown, and it means the economy remains largely in the Roberts family grip. The Free People, for the people, by the people, want to get this factory running with external finance so that they can get out from under the endless yoke that they see the corporates and the syndicate and the Roberts family as part of the syndicate have in effect have them screwed. So yeah, that's does that explain the two poles of this where we're.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I get it, and I have some ideas.
Well then, now is the time to share.
So Harper says, well, now that I'm keenly aware where's her office and where she's conducting her business, I'm just really curious about the range of your drone, Riley, because I'm really thinking that I could probably get there unnoticed and maybe plant your visual recording drone to record and have to hopefully record some materials about her. Now, the other thing is, where do we publish and who do we give it to, or do we want to let another person than her with this incriminating evidence? I'm not really sure about it, but I can get us some incriminating evidence if she does some business in this boardroom. So that's my thinking.
Well, if we get some incriminating video, I can make a compelling feature out of it and publish it. I know the outlets, they'll carry it.
Yeah, because my thought is that's exactly, I think, the right approach, because I'm thinking that while the corporates and the syndicates are in control, it's kind of sort of in that sort of like everybody knows it's happening, but if it becomes too overt, the peacekeeper, even though they are kind of on the take, they might have to actually do something about it, right? Like that's the, you know, it's not like the Huts are running the thing or something like that. I think if we can get, you know, get something out there, then I think it will force enough attention to onto them that they'll have to either kind of back off, lay low, or something, right? So,
and I think just to add a little bit of spice to this, I think that the source of external finance are the Zandoran carpenters, because as I remember, they are honourable merchant society. So it seems to me that this is exactly the kind of funding opportunity they'd be prepared to follow up. So, so it seems like what I'm hearing is that Harper will try to smuggle the drone in. Because the range isn't enormous, that's either going to require a bit of technical jiggery-pokery to bounce the signal off somewhere if you want to stay a safe distance away, Riley, or alternatively, Riley needs to be at the racetrack.
Well, that option sounds exciting.
So, yeah, I mean, already I'm seeing a scene which has Riley in the stands at the racetrack, you know, trying to stay within that kind of 50 meters or so of the drone that Harper has somehow smuggled in. And Gemma, what do you see as your part of this plan?
So I have two thoughts on this. Like, so my gut initial instinct would be is that she would stay to help them kind of protect the facility. But I could also be convinced that it makes sense for her to be there also at the races in case something, you know, went down. I mean, I would defer to what folks thought cinematically we think would be the most, because I'm thinking that there's also a risk of if they want. So the Roberts know we've been poking around because we got warned off, right? So I do think there's also a risk. I think we would think there's a risk that they could come out to try to, because this thing's out in the middle of nowhere, right? They could come out here and, you know, kill everybody and nobody would know. And so that was my gut instinct. But I think if you guys think it makes more sense for her to be in this, all of us together in this other place, we can do that too. So.
Look, I put my 5 penneth worth in. I think last episode, we saw each of you doing your individual thing. I think there is something to be said for the audience seeing this team of 3 operate in a coordinated way. Because I do find myself looking at secure again in terms of move people in or out, would maybe allow Harper to roll with advantage, if that went well, or maybe avoid Riley being spotted. I think there are ways that your various moves could intersect here.
And just Harper would say, "Come on, Gemma, you're going to send us into the jaw of Obsidian troops, and you're going to not go with us?"
Yeah, no, I like Alan. I like your idea. Let's stick together and do this. So I do like your idea that we could use the secure to sort of attempt to give ourselves an advantage in the scene we're in, right? Like whether it's, you know, it might not very specifically be one of those 4 bullets, but I think the sense of using that move to get the best, the high ground, so to speak, in the whole layout, if that's reasonable. So.
Yeah, so, you know, is this suppress a threat by creating a distraction? Is this, you know, see what I mean? That's what I'm wanting
I have an idea. So I think maybe
don't share it, just do it.
Okay. So
this is space opera.
Okay, so what Gemma is going to do is she is going to reveal herself so that her sisters know she's there.
Ooh.
To create a distraction, so that all of this can happen.
And of course, for the audience, this seems suicidal, but then we discover it's all part of the plan.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
think
imagining. Sorry, go ahead.
well, so what I'm seeing is I'm seeing Gemma working on that. That will then influence. What are we looking at, Harper? Infiltrate? Prey? What are you thinking?
The spray move is like really weird. I think it's infiltrate, because I will need to then from the lobby get to the hotel, probably through some locked doors, and stay there with the camera, because it's not AI operated. I have to like stay there for like 1 hour in the corner, hoping nobody will notice me.
Oh, I mean, don't feel you're in that position. I think if you can get that drone into the room, then as long as it stays in range of Riley.
Right, because then I'm going to be standing at the back of the stands with my data pad.
Yeah, I mean, there is then a question how you get the drone out, but I think we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay.
So I think if you can deliver the package, and Riley's close enough, you're okay-ish. And then we decide what information we get and what you do with it, Riley. That seems to me to be where we're going with this. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with Gemma. How are you gonna draw the attention of your sisters?
So my ideal thing, what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to be more of either a threat or I'm hoping that getting me is going to be more important to them than what they're doing with Roberts, if that makes sense. And so I think I imagine a situation where she needs to let them see her somehow. So I don't think it makes sense for her to go into the boardroom or go that way, because then it would be, she needs to get them out of there. So Riley, you said you had an idea. I thought, what did you have something?
So my idea is, so we're at this racetrack and people are betting a lot. And I'm imagining that like, if someone wins big on the races, like all of the cameras focus on them and they show their face real big on the Jumbotron. So if we can engineer a situation where like you throw down your hood and everyone sees your tattooed face on the Jumbotron, like your sisters will know you're here.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, perfect.
How are you going to engineer a win?
Well, maybe we would just, maybe I can photo bomb somebody else's, right? Like that we know that they do that. So I position myself so that when it happens, that I'm right there and make I think cinematically you see her step into the scene and pull her hood down and just looking straight up at the camera with sort of the come and get me sort of and then turn and walk off, right? So out of it. So
okay, well, that is coordinate a strike, roll with mind.
all right. I am nervous because I don't have any bonus on mind, so I'm
more a doer than a thinker. Oh, okay. Choose one from the list of no one controls the situation. Your sisters are quicker than you thought, so you do walk off, but they are going to engage with you. Yeah. So that does create the advantage, but you are going to be at risk from your sisters in a way that this was not supposed to happen. So, cut to Harper. What do we see you doing, Harper? You're in the hotel bar or somewhere? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, probably I'm like in the hotel lobby, sitting with the large painted newspaper, because they are not like, this is the only planet that prints newspaper, and then like the eyes are going up, and we see this the couple of the sisters. I'm not sure if there are just two or more, just like storm out, and I'm just like, okay, my time. Close up the paper.
You've seen the jumbotron in the lobby has lit up with Gemma's face, and you know the two. One of the sisters is on comms to the second sister immediately, and in moments they are leaving the hotel, heading through the racetrack entrance.
Yeah, and then I just like pretending that I'm going to the toilet. I just like slip through through some rooms. I think I rely more on just walking by than my stealth suit here, because this is like very close area. So I'm probably like standing behind the door. Someone like walks in. I'm just like, okay, close the door, continue moving.
Let's have you roll to infiltrate then. When you sneak into an area, roll with precision.
Okay, do you want me to roll to roll with advantage or not?
Roll with advantage, because Gemma's distraction, albeit potentially ending in violence, oh, just as well.
It's a 10.
Oh, this is what we're looking for. So set up an action triggered later.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Unless there are some security doors I need to like have open to get there.
There are. I was going to ask you to describe what we see as you get into the boardroom and plant the drone. You know, I can have a series of stuff going on that ends with you delivering the package. Package is on the desk.
Yeah, so I think I like get into the first floor, and then I like evade like someone cleaning the rooms behind the door. I like go through the elevator, through the staircase, and I finally get to the boardroom. Maybe we see Riley just like standing on the balcony, talking with someone through the comms, and like overseeing the races, and then just like quietly get in, just like he's standing there just talking. If he turns, he sees me, and I'm just like, did the thing get on the desk, plant it, the package is on the desk, and leave.
Okay, and you know, and you get out. And so Riley, you're in the stand, and now it's about making sure that you've got a strong signal, and of course, Roberts is entertaining the chief peacekeeper at today's race, and they're using the boardroom. You know, there's a balcony that overlooks the races, but then the Harper saw a nice buffet laid out. His overconfidence probably means that he takes one of the vol au vent. And yeah, they come in now. So Riley, what do we see you doing? Or is it just staying close enough when all hell breaks loose around Gemma down there?
So I've sort of set myself up in like the back row of the stands, close to this window, but off to the side so they don't like see me through it. I have purchased, I don't know if they have these in other countries, but in the US at horse racing tracks, they have these enormous hats.
They have enormous hats on Oasis.
So I've purchased some ostentatious, touristy, enormous hat, behind which I'm like fiddling on my native hat with this camera.
I'm now going to have to look up pictures of American racetracks, big hats at American racetracks later on, just to see what I'm dealing with.
Just look up anything about the Kentucky Derby. It's quite a thing. So.
Oh, Derby.
Yeah.
Brown Derby hat. Oh, that's a connection I've made. So I think this is just about you staying hidden and close and not attracting anyone's attention. Yeah. So unless you've got anything else going, I'm seeing face adversity with agility or stealth.
Sounds good.
So roll plus precision, Riley.
All right, my precision is 0.
And that's in one half of the screen. In the other two bits of the screen, we've got Harper making his way out, and we've got Gemma, the sisters getting eyes on. So what do you got? Oh, you
I've got a 9.
A 9. Okay, so you find what you were looking for. You achieve. So you are not going to be disturbed while you record this conversation. But on a 7 to 9, the GM fully enacts existing dangers or introduces new ones. I'm going to fully enact the sisters. And I think the plan was for you to rendezvous with Gemma, or Gemma to come and rendezvous with you, just in case. And of course, now this will put you in the frame as well as Gemma as the sisters begin to make their way through the crowd. So Gemma, what are you going to do when you realize the sisters are on your tail through this crowd? Do you carry on heading towards Riley, or do you lead them somewhere else?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna lead them somewhere else. I have in my head she knows she's gonna have to confront them. So she's taking them away from her. She doesn't want them anywhere near Riley, or it'd be too much danger with that.
And of course,
plus a distraction, right? Like she feels like I'm probably gonna have to, do something here, and I can't worry about Riley and that. So
Riley, I think you and the audience will see Gemma heading towards you as planned, and then notice something and veer off at an angle. And you will see, two powerfully built figures moving through the crowd down there nearer the track, which you will recognize as two of her sisters. And that information too will come through to you, Harper. What was your plan going to be when you got back to the lobby? Was it to head out into Freetown or head into the track?
I think my part was just to chill out and maybe get the camera when the things will be over, like in the evening or something. So I'm probably like coming to the Riley, but then maybe I also either she tells me that Gemma might be in danger, and I will go make sure she is all right, and I will follow them, trying to maybe provide help if I will have an opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm absolutely cool with that. I think as soon as she turns away, I think she's just going to say, complete the mission, and then she's going to shut her comm thing off. That's what she's going to do. So.
And where are you heading, Gemma? Where do you want to lead them?
Somewhere. I'm thinking like down some sort of alleyway or something like that.
Okay, what about one of the tunnels going under the stands?
Yeah, that works.
Maybe lead to some bit where these machines that do the racing are maintained or something, yeah?
Yeah, that's perfect.
So I'm seeing you go down there, they come around a corner behind you, and we know that Harper is pursuing them. Riley, there's not a lot you can do until you've got what you need from that drone. Then you could maybe just have it charge out the window off the balcony. I don't know. That we can come to that in a bit. So, Harper, is there anything you want to do that might give Gemma an edge?
I'm not really sure what Gemma is going to do. Are they going to talk to them or fight them out directly? So I cannot do anything before knowing what her plan is, and I'm not sure I know what their plan is. So I just want to again drop my clothes, go in full stealth mode, because if I'm going against Obsidian super soldiers, I'm gonna need to attack from stealth, hopefully help them if there will be fights. So I'm just focused on tailing, invisible, and getting ready to jump in if the fight happens.
Okay, so Gemma, you've led them away from the crowd, so no significant bystanders at this point. And what do you do?
So I'm envisioning, we've come around a corner, we're down in sort of one of those, I think what you described as sort of one of those sort of underground, the underbelly of stadiums and things like that. I think as they come around the corner too, there's some distance separating us, I'm assuming, and that she just stops and doesn't even turn around, and she just says, sisters.
You are Gemma. You have betrayed the order. It's time for you to come home.
and she'll turn around and say, I've left that life behind. I'm living my life now.
I leave Harper to tell me if and when they intervene. But what you will see is both of them just unbutton the rather smart suit that they have on and just move it apart to display that they are both armed. Sister, you cannot stay outside the order. Come home, or this gets messy.
So I think she nods and with sort of a acceptance and says, then perhaps we should I know what I want to do. I'm just trying to articulate it correctly. Then I said, then perhaps we should settle this as we settle all things. And she's going to let her blade come into her hand. I think that there's probably a more like a dueling sort of thing where they would fight, that
Code
way
of honor.
versus
Code of honor.
Yeah.
And the two women look at one another and flick their hand, and the blade comes out of their sleeve. And they begin to close on you. Honor requires the weapon, doesn't require one-on-one.
Yep.
Harper, you see this happening. What do you do?
I think I don't want to interfere because it's like code of honor stuff. So Harper goes on the comms. Hey Riley, what do I do? There seem to be like some honorable code of conduct fighting on the knife. They're going to knife each other. Do I like interfere? Do I like
Harper,
Gamma feel angry if I interfere?
Are you in a fight club? What are you doing?
I'm following Gamma. She's going. They are going to fight their sisters with knives. Do I like interfere? Is she going to get angry if I interfere? It seems to be some code of honor fight.
Oh shit!
And I don't know.
Through the other ear,
up, right? He's all stealthed up, so I don't know he's there, right? Okay.
No, through the other ear, Riley, you're beginning to pick up a really interesting conversation going on in the conference room. So you can't leave yet. It's just getting juicy.
I make sure the microphone gain on my camera is adjusted right, and then I say to Harper, like, you gotta have Gemma's back. Even if she's mad, she's always mad. Just protect our girl. Sorry, protect Gemma.
Okay. So in that case, if Gemma will be angry, Rish will be angry. I think I want to like shoot and not like kill. I think I want to like freeze one of them. So I probably want to like shoot like the bottom part so that it's like 1-on-1 now and not 2-on-1, but then Gamma can decide what to do with the other one. If I freeze her legs, she cannot get to the gun either. So
yeah, and it went so well the last time you froze a body.
Yeah.
So I think at this moment, because you are stealthed, they are vulnerable. So I think when you take from the vulnerable, roll with precision. I think this is prey.
Yeah, that was my total thought. That's an 8.
Okay, so on a 10+, take something from them. On a 7 to 9, choose how you take something. On a 10+, so you can take the mobility of one of them from them. Yeah.
Yes.
But you need to tell me how you did it. Messy, painfully, blah blah blah. You tell me.
Does it have to be messy or painfully to me?
No. It's how you take something. Last time you chose messily, and their body exploded as the temperature change. But you've aimed just to freeze their lower leg to the ground. Was how I interpreted what you told me.
Yes, that's what I want. I'm just like figuring out which option makes sense. Because if she's going to die later, she will not be my enemy. but I think I want to like pick this option. Either this or she throws the blade at me because she can still throw the blade at me. So
She could.
So I think maybe that. So let's go with that. She can like maybe I like decloak and she's like super soldier. She can like see me then and she can like throw the blade at me.
Yeah, I think that once she out the corner of her eye, she sees the incoming ray. And then there's just that kind of slight, predator blurring against the crowd behind, and the knife streaks towards you. And I think that you will take one stress, and I don't think armor's going to make any difference to this, to be honest.
Yeah, they probably have some super blades, so yeah.
Yeah. And what effect does that have on the cloaking suit? Does this do anything to it, or is it? I'm just wondering if it disrupts it in any way, or now there's a blade that she can target.
That depends. How do we understand stress? Does stress means that I narrowly avoid
That's true.
being hit?
That's true. Yeah, it's plot armor. Forget what I said. Gemma, let's cut to you then, as one of the sisters is frozen to the ground, goes to her knee, and you see a blade flick into the distance, who knows where. What do you do with the other one, Gemma?
I think she's just going to leap right in and attack.
When you demolish foes with violence, roll plus force.
Let's hope. I'm not crossing my fingers. I've crossed my fingers on every roll and it has been not good. So 11.
Oh, the GM describes the enemy attacks actions, describe how you defend yourself, how you put the hurt on them, and how you take them out. Victory is yours. So I think she does. She leaps. And I think there's some kind of cartwheel involved that involves her trying to get behind you and get an arm around your throat so she can just cut your throat, avoiding the carapace armor entirely. So there's some kind of body flip over the top of you. How do you defend yourself against that? And how do you put the hurt on the sister?
So I think she anticipates that action, and she comes down onto like one of her knees, so she's not actually there in the way that she was expecting to, and then and I'm thinking maybe even just takes her blade straight up into her like that. So yeah.
And it is as quick and blurry and peculiarly bloodless going in that way. And the other sister draws her gun and is torn, I think, at this moment between firing at where the threat came from behind her, or after what she's just seen, what she's going to do. So I'm going to go to Harper to tell me what Harper does first.
I think Harper hides behind something and is like not doing any particular action right at this moment.
Fine. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Gemma, Riley, conversation is about the next payment to the peacekeepers from the family. Gemma, what do? One of them is frozen to the ground on her knees.
So and she just drew her weapon, right?
She threw her knife away. She's drawing her gun.
And I think, she pulls that blade out and she stands up and she says, "Where is your honor, sister?"
And that's when she shoots you. So I think, do you try to take her out with a knife? Thrown?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So let's see how well that goes and whether the knife takes her down before the bullets can draw a bead on you. Roll plus precision.
Right. What am I in precision? I think I'm +2 there too. Yes, I am. All right.
Oh, you are a killing machine.
Oh, let's hope. 8.
8. So on an 8, I'm beginning to think the way I laid this character sheet out is not ideal. On a 7 to 9, the fight plays out as in 10. So she, we see slow-mo, has to be slow-mo. We see the gun coming. She was going to fire at where Harper is, but then she sees her sister go down, and the gun is arcing back towards you. Biff, 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 biff. Describe how you defend yourself, how you put the hurt on, and how you take them out. Victory is yours, but you'll get hurt or cause collateral damage. So describe how this ends up with you taking her out, despite the slow-mo.
Right. So I think they both, she calls her out for her honor like that, sees her, and as she starts firing, and then she'll throw the knife. So I think she throws after, so she's going to get hit. Gemma's going to get hit because I think it surprised her a little, the lack of honor, right? So that piece. So she didn't throw ahead. That's kind of maybe why that happened, is she didn't proactively. But I think the knife just goes maybe right into her sister, but then she takes one. And I meant to ask this earlier, but like when they're wandering around down in this town, I kind of was wondering if she would have had her armor. I mean, it's designated as heavy, right? Like they're on shore leave. I was thinking that she would not have had her armor, right? That that they would not be, when I see a tag as heavy, that's something that would be
noticeable
right, and pretty conspicuous as well. So
I think that's very sporting of you. So you can take 2 stress.
Okay. And so I think that she takes it full on in the chest. And
well, again, remember, stress is plot armor. Wounds is damage. So whether there's a bullet time, leaning away and just going down in a heap, I don't know, but that's where we get to. And of course, at the point the gun is fired, a race starts, and there's lots of noise distracting from any of this. No collateral damage. Riley, the conversation is done. How are you going to get the drone out? Because you've heard gunfire from Harper's pickup.
Okay,
so,
but I'm like, shit, I got out of here now.
Yeah.
I make sure that my video is fully uploaded, and then I just, as mentioned before, just crash that camera drone right out the window back into my possession and make a run for it.
Okay, I mean, there has to be a chance that they see where this goes. So I think this is face adversity using pilot or machinery. Roll plus hardware, Riley.
All right. My hardware is +1.
I think the risk here is to the drone, not to the information.
Right. All right. I roll a 7, which becomes an 8.
Okay, you get what you wanted, but the GM fully enacts existing dangers or introduces new ones. I think that as it makes the quickest exit it can, it hits the plate glass and kind of just, instead of hovering over you and sitting in your hat or whatever, it falls damaged in your lap. So you'll probably see there's a tick box next to that. If you mark the tick box, that needs fixing.
Got it.
Yeah. I think that's a reasonable cost. And that, I think, means that, Gemma, you've paid your debt to the free people. Because we're not going to get into the detail of how this, you've got the leverage, you get the leverage to Francine, and Francine will use the leverage to keep the Roberts family off her back.
I almost thought, like, the closing scene, you see, like, I actually thought that we'd see Riley actually narrating a bit, like almost an expose of this happening, right? And then you see that, and then you see a flip to a scene of the free people getting the factory going, right? And so it just kind of, that feels very end of Firefly-ish, right? Like that That's
very cool. That's very cool. I'm not sure I want to go as far as getting the factory going, but I think certainly one of the Zandoran carpenters we get a message from them to Francine saying, yes, the money should be with you any day now.
Yeah.
So we know it's
you see him like shaking hands and sealing the deal or something like that, right? Yeah.
That's the deal is done. That doesn't mean that the factory might not be under threat, but we'll worry about where. That depends on where you go next, really. That I think is where we'll call it. I think that I'm not sure. I'm going to give you the +1 for the local job. I think that you will have got enough out of this to at least pay your bills. I think that's only fair because you've done the selfless thing. But the principal benefit is that the debt that Gemma owed the free people is now paid. But I think all of you can now mark the syndicate as betrayed. The syndicate is now after you, I think, because this was a serious setback that you seem to have engineered or have been implicated in, if only because of the conversation with Harper.
Alan, I already had a 1 debt to the syndicate. Will I increment that up to 2 because of this? Perfect.
Oh, they are coming for you. So you might want to think about next time where you want to head that might be vaguely safer from them. But I think we'll call it there because I'm conscious we didn't want to leave any hangovers because there's a good chance that Pavel won't be joining us next time. Again, I'm going to stop the recording here so we can do a quick stars and wishes. Yeah.